they want to. I read it on Army News. They want to take back the medals of soldiers at Wounded Knee. And I just think that's such an interesting topic, maybe to me and not to you or nobody else. But so you're having a conversation with someone, they make a claim, you ask them to put it on a scale, and they say that they're 9. So that's interesting. What would it take you to be an 8? Like, what would it take to change your mind? So even if they are an ideologue, you get a kind of window into their thinking. You get a glimpse. I mean, you can do other things. You can do a lot of stuff with scale, so you can get a guided tour of their epistemology. Yeah. But that's a really good way. It's also a really good way to avoid he said, she said, yes it is, no it isn't. So.
Yeah, I agree. There's as I've done like my whole political thing, I like that you bring this up. I always say, because people always ask me like, how do you know you're being fair? How do you know if you're being biased or not? I like to hope that I'm being more fair than most. But my biggest fear is always like falling into like the big circle jerk and then realizing like 5 years later, like, holy fuck, I've been in an echo chamber for so long and I'm missing like
totally 100%.
Yeah. You're familiar
100%. So right,
go
sorry.
Ahead. No, you're good. Keep going.
That's such an important point. So one thing you said before that relates to that is, you want to impose these ideas on yourself. Like, you want to impose a kind of corrective mechanism on yourself so that you're not held hostage to audience capture. Yeah. And I think the important thing there is that that's an attitudinal disposition, right? It's an attitude that you have toward the truth. And the key there is, are you willing? So this is what I always ask myself. And, audience capture is a really big problem. Echo chambers are a really big problem. Particularly today when people don't speak across divides and gulfs. I always impose that question on myself. My dissertation I did in prisons, and I used the Socratic method to help inmates desist from crime. And the highest level of this that you can do is when people impose this on themselves. Under what conditions am I willing to change my mind? What would that look like? And am I really willing to change my mind? And how confident am I in this? If I'm 9 confident, that's like when you do the exercise, you see that little Likert scale, strongly agree.
Yeah, you always have them scan to the lines and then see if they can move.
Yeah, so like and I always ask people that question, like, what would it take for you to change your mind? What would it take for you to move one line? But the key there is you should always be asking yourself, what would it take for me to move my mind? You should have a kind of sincerity with yourself. And as long as you do that, I don't mean to sound cheesy, but with an open mind, an open heart even, as long as you're sincerely willing to revise your belief, it's less likely that you'll be held hostage to your own delusions.
Yeah, true. Okay. Okay, so I agree. I was going to say the two things, because obviously being online, audience capture is a huge issue for a variety of reasons, not just ideological, but financial as well, right? Like, you might actually have a financial incentive to be captured by your audience, and trying to buck against that can be challenging sometimes. The two questions that I would always tell people, because people always ask me, how do you avoid getting like mind fucked and you're in a big circle jerk? And the one thing is the first thing that you brought up. I'd always say that, like, if you can't ask yourself, what would it take to change your mind in a position? If you don't have an answer to that, then you don't believe that for a reasonable reason. There's something else that's holding it, because if you weren't reasoned into it, you can't be reasoned out of it. And if nothing could change your mind on it, then why?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hold on.
Go for it.
Okay. So two things there. Sorry to keep interrupting.
You're totally good. Go for it.
Your stuff is so pregnant with.
Yeah.
So the first thing is you should never ask. So my golden rule is I would never ask anybody a question that I wouldn't be willing to subject myself to.
Always, yeah.
And some people don't do that. So they can dish it out, but they can't take it. So if
there's a quick thing just on that. There's a quick thing when I'm debating somebody, I'll ask like, well, why would you say this? Or why would you? And sometimes I'll get this exasperated, like, come on, nobody knows blah, blah, blah. And I'll usually, the challenge I'll give to that is like, well, here, ask me that same question and I will tell you exactly what I'm talking about. Like, because I can do everything I'm asking you to do. I'll gladly do it for mine. And then you can attack me if you think that my methodology is flawed. But yeah, I agree 100%. You should always be willing to answer the question you're asking.
Yeah, and on that note, so I wrote about this in my first book. I can't remember, published. I can't remember where it was, but so if they say, well, blah, blah, you say, no, ask me, literally ask me. I had a conversation with a guy, and when I was on tour in Australia, who's head of this Muslim association, and I asked him if he thought women should be stoned to death for adultery, and he couldn't. He was saying I don't know what the fuck this guy was talking, stories about the prophet. And so finally I just said, ask me that question. And he keeps trying to say, no, ask me. He said, no. I said, no, literally ask me the question. And he said, do you think women should be stoned to death for adultery? I said, no. Do you think women should be stoned to death for adultery? He said yes. So it's a way to cut through the noise.
Yeah.
Like asking people. So, but the key in that, what I started with is never ask someone a question, never dish it out unless you're willing to take it. Never ask someone what it would take to change their mind unless you're willing to be asked that question.
For sure.
And then always have a response to that question. And you know what a great freaking response is that we don't have in the society now? You know, I
don't know the answer. Yeah.
I really don't know.
Sometimes people will donate and they'll ask me, like, what do you think about, like, this particular thing that's going on? Like, yeah, and the willingness to be able to say, like, you know, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked into it, so I don't have a strong opinion right now. Ask me in a week or whatever. Maybe I'll look it up.
And instead of making you look like an idiot, you should be given a fucking award for that response.
Sure, yeah.
Like, that's a great response. So as long as we have people who openly say they don't know, particularly if they have institutional power and authority, we won't create cultures where people pretend to know things they don't know.
I super disagree. I
really?
agree with you
man.
on the micro level, but I see
creeps,
scary
that
things
was
happen on
bad
the macro
unlucky.
level. If I'm opposed to 2 or 3 other commentators and somebody
No
comes
worries.
to me and they're like, Destiny, what do you think about this thing, Steven? What do you think about that or that? And I'm like, I don't know the info yet. This happens so much with breaking news. People's like, do you think the cops are right or wrong to shoot that guy? And I was like, I don't know. I watched a video. I kind of need more information. I might be intellectually honest and say, like, I don't know. I'm willing to admit that. But then what happens, unfortunately, is some people will jump to the next guy who is willing to say, I know what happened. They trained cops to shoot people like that. Or that black guy didn't deserve that. Or that black guy did deserve that. And it's like, fuck. You see the audience being siphoned off to the people that are willing to stake out the indefensible, but way more entertaining and way more hardline political claims. Like,
True. No.
Yeah.
So maybe there isn't. So maybe there isn't disagreement. So that might be a good short-term strategy, but in the long term, you'll maintain your integrity, and your audience will know that.
True. My next disagreement would be like, I don't know if integrity, unfortunately, is a thing that matters sometimes to because I'll see people get things wrong so much. It's a big issue in my side of the internet, and I'm trying to escape kind of some of the online bubbles I'm in, but it's not like it's unique here. But when it comes to the breaking news things, I'll focus on a lot. People will be wrong and wrong and wrong and wrong, and I'll point that out. I was like, bro, you were wrong about that, and that. Why are people still listening to you? Like, I don't understand. You've made so many horrible claims, and things have turned out completely the opposite. But I think that people's media brains are so short-term sometimes that they don't even remember. And more importantly, actually, forget what I just said. The short-term thing doesn't matter. I think that it's more of an insight into why people engage with media the way they do, and it's not really for fact-finding or for information. That's not true. I think they engage with it because it reinforces kind of like social norms or social values. And at that point, the factual part can become...
I was going to say belief confirmation.
Exactly,
Brother.
yeah. And the fact part isn't really that important because people will listen to things for fact. If they go on to a YouTube channel for cars,
100%,
and somebody
100%.
tells you how to turn your car on and they're doing it wrong, they'll stop listening to that person almost immediately. You'll break the cycle, whatever operant condition. You try one thing, no reward, I'm never listening to that guy again. But when it comes to politics, we engage with that in a fundamentally different way, where it's all about the reinforcement.
So here's what I've learned in the last 30 years of studying and publishing and reading extensively about this stuff. So okay, so you know the sidewalk game that we do, that epistemological.
I don't need it. Keep it for now.
The thing that I've learned is, so what you just said was, something like if someone's wrong about fixing your car, they just stop. They won't listen anymore. What's interesting about moral questions, and almost all political questions are at some level moral questions, budgetary allocations are moral questions. What I've learned is that people will hold a belief not based upon the evidence they have for that. In fact, they'll usually find the evidence after they've formed the moral belief. Like, so they have these moral intuitions about things, and then they'll look at their epistemic landscape to populate it with evidence. So here's the kicker where I was going to get. People will stand on those lines, not based upon the evidence they have, or less so the reasoning,
Thank you.
because
Good
of,
self.
of a moral reason. Like,
That's why I wanted to save
I'm a
it,
good
bud.
person. Good people
Good
stand
shit.
on this line. I'll stand
block
on this
their
line.
creeps.
So their conception of what it is to be a good
gonna pull 'em
person
away.
determines the line they stand on, and then they look for evidence subsequent to that. That's why I think it's really important, getting back to the I don't know thing.
Okay.
That's why I think it's really important that we have to create a culture where not only are people praised for saying I don't
Invoker's
know,
top. It's okay.
but they're praised for changing their mind. Like,
He'll kill
changing
Silencer,
your mind
but
becomes a good thing. Revising your beliefs in
I
the
think we've got
face of evidence becomes a good thing. You know, listening to somebody. So now we have a kind of a toxic environment in two senses. One, there's guilt by association. I just read something this morning about. I'm not a Harry Potter fan. See, I can't even pronounce it at all. But I read there's some game that they do.
Quidditch?
Yeah, Quidditch, and they have that's right. They have a stick or something. But anyway, they want to change the name of the game to separate themselves from the author, right? Who allegedly.
Oh, because of the J.K. Rowling turf stuff.
Right, right. So, which is another conversation entirely. But what was interesting to me about that was we have a kind of guilt by association. Like, we can't even talk to people who disagree. Like, we have to kind of, their very presence is it's such a contamination that, are you getting live stream thing? Like, people texting you and stuff to talk about?
Oh, there's like chats in front of me, yeah, but I'm listening to you, don't worry about that.
Oh, no, I wasn't worried. Even neither here nor there. I'm just curious.
People are linking the CNN story now that Quidditch is changing its name to Quadball to cut ties with J.K. Rowling. Jesus Christ.
So okay, so that's a huge cultural problem. It might seem silly and it might seem laughable, but
Harry,
there's
you're about to
something
get black holed, I think.
deeper and more emblematic of a problem.
I have no mana.
And that problem is that we've created a culture where if somebody, like when we started our conversation, if someone says one thing, you don't want to talk to them, or I can't be associated with this guy, he believes this about X.
Yeah.
Well, that's why. That's a very that's ahistorical. That's a very recent cultural phenomenon. Mm-hmm. My parents had Republicans. My parents were blue-collar Democrats, but they had, friends of all different viewpoints. But there's something particularly insidious about that. Something very divisive about that.
Yeah. I just had a. It's impossible to explain how ridiculous the lead up to all this is. But I had a huge stream where I wrote out a huge document detailing some of my problems with people, and there's a whole section about this. Essentially, that like it's because there's two parts to this actually. So the first part is that if you can identify one bad opinion on a person, you can essentially they become like this ontologically evil person. Like everything about them, and you only need one bad opinion. And sometimes you don't even need that. Sometimes you just need one association with somebody with one bad opinion, right? It might be like, you say you believe this thing, but you're friends with that guy, and he's in a group, and they believe that thing. There's 100%. No way. Yeah, and it becomes so infectious that every part gets infected with it. Yeah.
That's right. Here's I was thinking about when you were talking a game that's frequently played on the left right now, and that is you want to talk to somebody, or I want to talk to somebody, and there's an exception. David Pakman is the only exception as far as I know. But you'll want to talk to somebody about something. You want to talk to people on the left about something. You reach out over and over to people, and they won't have you on. They won't talk about it. You believe that the story, whatever it is worthy of talking about. Just one example that comes to mind. The president of my former university, Portland State, ask your listeners, if you don't mind, to pull up the exact quotation, said that racial justice should be the highest priority of the institution. Gotcha. And Portland State University is a public institution. And so I've reached out to, I don't even know how many people to have that conversation on the left. I mean, I can't even, I put it on my Twitter, I called, I've emailed people. Nobody will have that conversation with me. And just so that you know, Portland State University is a public institution. They receive public taxpayer funds. I think that is a really important thing for us to have a conversation about. No one will talk to you. So then you talk to people on the right about it, and what do people on the left do? Bogosian only talks to people on the right. Bogosian's a tool for the right.
This is my life right now, right? Because like all of Destiny's friends are Nazis and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well,
he's a tool for the right.
Yeah, people that are far right are the only one who talk. Literally, all of you guys have said you're not going to talk to me. I'm a bad faith actor. I'm unwilling to engage in good faith conversation. I'm a far right conservative. It's like, okay, well then, what am I supposed to do? Lock myself in a closet and not talk to anybody?
So this is the game. This is the game they play. This is the game. So they won't talk to you. So the moment you talk to somebody on the right, you're a Nazi.
Yeah.
Or you're conspiring with Nazis.
Or you're legitimizing their points of view, or like you're talking about something that shouldn't even be up for debate. Why would you have a debate about this thing? Are you trying to say that that's even worth talking about? And it's like, well, I mean, half the country disagrees with you, so it seems like it would be, but...
So that's the other thing that's interesting. We have a lot of people who genuinely believe, I think the abortion thing is recent Supreme Court case. I think that we have a lot of people who genuinely believe that they're so convinced of what's true. They're so, their moral brain is in hyperdrive, is in override, that it's overridden their rational brain. And that's why they view any conversation that you have with someone as a taint on you.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're going to get a lot of shit from talking to me. I don't have any idea if I get a lot of shit from talking to you, but I assume but here's the hard
Invoker
pill to
CPing mid.
swallow. And this took me, I wish I could go back in time and tell myself this like 5 years ago. Some people have absolutely nothing of substance to contribute. Literally nothing.
Nice.
Yeah.
In the same
What an
way
idiot.
that I wouldn't take advice from someone about how to fly a plane who doesn't know about how to fly a plane, why would I take criticism from that person? It doesn't even make any sense. But I think for so long I've thought, and this could be a this could be, I don't know if this is true, I've thought about it, but it could be this idea that, you know, I really want to be willing to revise my beliefs. I really want to be, I really want to clean up my thinking. I want to be sincere with myself and honest with myself and other people. And I really need to listen. And I really, you know, you keep searching for something of substance that they have, but there is nothing of substance. It's all predicated upon, silliness.
I know you don't know anything about me, but it's just funny because this is we've made all these exact like people might chatter typing that you're me in 15 years or whatever. It's the exact same thing as what I've uncovered, like convo after convo after convo. I could give you a million examples. I argued with a guy who was incredibly upset about like this is the worst thing about happening. Somebody will give me a story and they'll be indignant, they'll be upset. Like I can't believe that Google is doing this thing. I remember I had a conversation with a guy. It's like Google is forcing trans people to have dead names on their badges. How horrible. And I was like, that sounds kind of shitty. Well, like, let's look into it. Like, what does that mean? Like, is it, like, without a legal name change? It's like, well, yeah, they're saying they need legal name changes to have their name badges changed. Okay, well, I worked in some corporate environments before. Name badges are kind of important.
I appreciate you, Arc Warden.
Do you think that might be an important... And he's like, well, you know, that's still wrong. And it's like, well, hold on, is it? And I'm like, so we finally bring up the story and we read it. And then we find out, one, it's not Google at all. It's a firm that they're subcontracting work to. And then two, we find out that the firm they're subcontracting work to is a security firm. And at that point, now I'm like, how did you get so mad at this and you didn't even know what happened? I don't understand where the outrage came from. You didn't know anything about the story. Something that you said earlier is very true about the moralizing of everything. And I don't know, you do know this, whether you've put word to it or not. People are moralizing every single thing. Even words are moralized, such that anytime you talk about a particular thing, you can no longer just convey a descriptive fact about something. That is impossible. Right. You're also conveying your normative feelings about it as well.
Right. It has to be evaluative too.
Always, yeah. And I always tell people this because I get invited sometimes to talk to colleges or whatever. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give when I'm talking to people is like, don't ever confuse the morality of a goal with the morality of a process, right? So when we're talking about like homelessness, eliminating homelessness, that's a morally good thing. You should want to eliminate homelessness. That's really good. Nobody will argue with you there. But as soon as you start saying things like
I almost have
that's a morally good
have
position.
this.
Well, hold on. No, it's not. That's a process, and insofar as it serves the end, it could be good, but it could also not be good. But people will start to get so tied into these processes that even when they don't work, or even when you can show that they don't work to serve the end, you're called out because now it seems like you disagree with the moral statement at the end rather than just the description of the system. Affirmative action is another really good one of this. I think racial justice in the United States is really important. And I think that there are steps that we can take to ameliorate like the differences in the races and educational attainment.
All right, I have
doesn't seem like it's worked in a lot of different areas. There's a lot of issues with it. And the way that it gets reported is deceptive sometimes, right? I think in the UC schools, they would say, you know, we tried affirmative action, we got 2x the enrollment of black students. And it's like, okay, but the graduation rate remained the same on an absolute value. But on the per capita thing, it actually reduced horribly. So you're getting people in school and it's not working. They're just failing out because they're not qualified for it. But as soon as you attack the concept of affirmative action in people's minds, you're attacking the concept of racial equity and racial justice. Like, well, hold on, no, I'm not. And you see this play out with every single issue, where if you try to have a conversation about a
cold feet on me
or a particular process, people are already at the end of the road where the moral claim is, and if you disagree with it any step of the way, you must disagree with the moral claim at the end.
Yeah, 100%. And so
black hole.
To deal with that is to stick to the process. Is to stick to the evaluation of the process.
I have no mana.
This is where the conversation gets incredibly complicated. So the problem now that we have.
I'm gonna head back. I can't do anything right now.
We have a bunch of people running around who are telling us that the ways that we, either they're telling us that all processes are relative, or that they're all equal, which by definition they can't be both relative and equal. The other thing is, I found that if you focus on the process, so if you look at it as a syllogism, premise, conclusion, what we often find is that people run around and criticize other conclusions that people have based upon their own moral impulses. But we can get a lot farther if we talk about, is it valid? In other words, does the premise, like affirmative action or rent control or what have you, is it a valid syllogism to say, if you do this and if you do this, it will yield this? And if it is, then, in other words, there are ways to think about or to conceptualize the problem that don't deal with conclusions, but just deal with processes. Because the fact of the matter is, not all processes are equal. I mean, in fact, by definition, they can't be. They can't be because so.
Even trying to walk somebody through like that, even that part could be very challenging. Like, well, let's talk. Like, we're not even going to talk about the soundness of your argument. Let's just see.
We could probably Roche.
Does it at least like the conclusion follow, assuming everything else is true? And
although black hole should be up,
point, you're already like in another universe, depending on who you're talking to.
Right, and so I find, and this is maybe it's a little counterintuitive, but talking about whether something is true. I mean, ultimately that's of importance, but what's more important is that how do you know that it's true?
He does. He does have BKB.
Epistemology is always more important than
so you'd have to wait until after BKB.
Like, what is the process that you arrived at, and are you willing to change your mind? So that's the attitude, right?
Yeah.
And often people get stuck in conversations, and because they don't know, because they see exactly the opposite model.
I can still go. Yeah. Keep splitting.
Nazis, alt-right, or we're not. And this is made work. The place where we should find this is just is where we're not finding it. We're not finding it in the university system, which is why I went on tour for the reverse Q&A in the university system. And by the way, the video that I think you did, you can see that's not being modeled for them, like civil discourse, or they came down looking for a fight and they just weren't going to get a fight from it, which is just another, parenthetical register.
Well, even the are you referring to the real quick? Are you referring to the one where the people came down that were shouting at you?
Yeah, they were saying "fuck you."
Yeah, even at that, if they came down looking for a fight, at least that would be fun. But they didn't even come down looking for a fight. They just came down to kind of moralize, to preach at you, right? Like, it wasn't like you said these things about trans people. I want to fight with you about it. That'd be cool.
I have hard up.
Okay, go for it.
We can keep pushing.
You're evil. You're transphobic. You're causing harm by even asking the question. It's like, damn, if we're at the point where asking questions on a college campus is causing harm, we're pretty fucked. That's a pretty sad state of affairs. But yeah.
Okay, so you said a lot there. I don't know if you know this, but when you say stuff, there's a lot in there.
Yeah, no, yeah.
You're packing in with a lot of stuff. So part of the problem is that we have people, primarily academicians, who don't go by the traditional rules of engagement. So if you and I have disagreement, maybe one will come up or whatever, I can already tell you, if it would be a better example if you were here, I'm not going to punch you in the head, you're not going to punch me in the head, we're not going to disrupt each other. The goal is not to disrupt, the goal is to figure out what's true. And if you have people who are unwilling to have a conversation because they think there are embedded power dynamics and discourses, and that's the language that they use, then they've taken away a tool that we can use to figure out what's true. Right? And so the idea is, when you listen, they talk about disrupting. That's also why people don't answer direct questions, because they've never been trained in that way. They've never been trained to be clear thinkers. And
splitting.
When you're not trained that way,
keep pushing.
You have to make up. If you think that you have a good reason for what you believe, but it doesn't match with the evidence, then you have to make up that slack somehow. I'm offended, fuck you, you're a Nazi, I'm not, my friend Michael Shermer was going to debate, I think it was Frank Turek, I'm not sure, it was a while before the pandemic, on it's like what you said before about some questions are not worth debating, but you're, I should say, and you're also correct that a significant number of people actually believe that they're worth debating. So almost by definition, they're worth debating because someone thinks they're worth debating. So why not have the best representative? And I certainly think Shermer is right up there with among the best representatives. And everybody was protesting that there shouldn't be a debate. Okay, so I'll just be clear one thing. I'm not a big fan of debates because that makes it less likely that people are willing to change their minds. I'm a much bigger fan of conversation. So these folks, they don't even want a conversation. They think, they call it privilege-preserving epistemic pushback. There are a lot of, fancy academic names for these things. But the basic idea is that,
take that so we can TP.
What you said before, debating it is a kind of legitimacy to the idea. But they've got it exactly backwards. Not debating it makes people think that it's not worthy of debate, and then they become so convinced. But you can't really get to the truth unless you have, at the very least, some reasons for why your beliefs could be wrong. And we have a culture right now in which that's frowned upon. Discourse, dialogue, speech. And unfortunately, this is not exclusively coming from the left, but we see this in large organizational institutional captures. Rob Henderson, I was just with him at the University of Austin. He's also a founding faculty member. He calls this a luxury belief. And I think that's what it is. It's a luxury belief. So I don't know if this is okay. Before I go on to that tangent, so I'll just leave it there.
I agree with you. Like, when it comes to analyzing, I guess you'd say like the epistemology of a person, how you figure out if something is true or not. The epistemology, metaphysics, all of that actually doesn't matter. The only thing that matters are the moral claims at that point. Like to a lot of the people that you argue with. So if we have a conversation related to like LGBT stuff, or like the big one today is like the what is a woman? Well, like a trans woman is a woman. Or how do you figure out who's trans? Well, if they say they are there. Okay, well, hold on. Isn't this like kind of confusing? What's confusing? That you fucking hate trans people? Well, no, hold on. That's not what I mean. I'm just saying like, well, maybe we should question this. Question what? How much you fucking hate trans people? It's like, no, what the fuck? I just want to have a conversation about any of these topics. Why? So you can tell me how much you fucking hate trans people? It's like, okay, well, fuck me. It seems like everything, the whole, all of the lines of thought, and even some of the actual justification for certain beliefs are, we ought to believe this thing because it's morally good. That's why we ought to believe it. And it's like, well, hold on, how do you even justify that? Well, because like everything is arbitrary and anything can be anything, so we just should believe the things that are morally good. It's like, okay, well, by definition, like we're like in private language territory now. Like I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about anymore. And it gets so frustrating because something that you said is the issue that we're having. And people keep viewing as like we're becoming more and more divided and we're becoming blah, 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 blah. I think that's half true. I think what's actually happening is we're withdrawing into totally different epistemic universes.
Yeah,
and I think
correct.
That's what's actually happening.
That's super dangerous as well.
Yeah, it is, society. Because you'll have people, I don't know if you knew who Scott Alexander is. He does the Slate Star Codex blog or whatever. But he mentions an interesting thing that we live in a world of like matter and antimatter, where you can be living next to people, going to restaurants and everything, but it's like this. You don't even see these people in your life because they're in a totally different reality. And that's happening with our conversations as well. You can see it happen with the abortion stuff. I think abortion is good because my body, my choice. Oh, well, I think abortion is bad because you're murdering a baby. You're not even having the same conversation. Like, if you believe you're murdering a baby, my body, my choice doesn't matter anymore. And if you think it's not a baby, then of course the woman's autonomy is the most important thing. Why would you say otherwise? But people can't even like engage anymore on the same level. It's like a dude's got a Game Boy and another guy's got like a PlayStation. They're trying to play the same game together. It's like not even remotely working. It's very, very, very frustrating.
Yeah, or someone brings a chessboard on a football field.
Yeah, exactly.
A different category. So the examples that you gave before, so I'll throw in things that you may want to think about that could help the conversation. Instead of saying, you believe this or whatever, I mean, I don't have the transcript or what have you, what you said. I can't remember exactly what you said, but if you always end those things in a question, it's less threatening.
Of course,
and the idea is to decrease somebody's defensive posture. And when know that people change their beliefs and they change their minds in psychologically safe environments. And so one of the ways that we can do that is we can ask targeted questions. Ideally, they'd be targeted Socratic questions, but they can't be too Socratic because
people will have to, especially because they know that I'm like a debater. If I start at the one, it's funny because one thing that you mentioned that's really successful is oftentimes if I'm having a conversation with somebody, I'm going to try to rephrase what you're saying so that you know that I understand it and so that we're on the same page. Because if I can't rephrase what you're saying, we're already fucked. But I'll notice sometimes that when I'm like, if I'm saying like, somebody says to me, I think 2 times 4 equals 8. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. So you believe that like 4 times 2 equals 8. But because it's in the pretext of like a debate / conversation, they'll hear that and they'll be like, okay, well, hold on. Now, when I said that and they're already disagreeing even at the rephrasal part. And I'm like, dude, I'm not even arguing with you. I'm just trying to understand what you're saying. Like, chill.
Right.
But yeah, people's minds will be so like poisoned against even like a rephrasal or like you said, like even a question that seems too aggressive. Yeah.
Okay, even that. So let's go back to that one. Instead of dude, I'm not even arguing with you. Chill.
Yeah.
Here's what I would say. Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood that. Let me try to understand that.
Yeah.
Decreases the defensive posture, makes it more likely that someone's going to revise their beliefs. The Harvard negotiation project calls this a golden bridge. You want to kind of build in. And what I didn't talk about before is the rapport building techniques. You want to have ideally you'd have a kind of rapport before you jumped in, and
of course,
rapport is more important the deeper the moral gulf.
I agree. Usually when I'm talking to people, I'll try to make sure that like if the temperature is rising in a conversation, then the brain is shut down for disagreement, right? If it's at a point where anybody's like raising their voice, it's usually fucked. So I'll usually say like, okay, hey, hold on, let's chill. I understand you're saying this, like I understand that. And I try to find, usually my goal is, especially in moral disagreements, someplace I'll try to start is like, how many descriptive things can we align on, right? So somebody comes up and they say, I fucking hate women because they fuck over guys. And I'm like, okay, well, let's start in some place. Like we both.
Do people say stuff like that to you?
Dude, the internet's a wild place. Yeah, we argue with literal Nazis and communists and tankies and everything here, so we get all types here. On the internet, the conversations are crazy, but in the real world, they're getting crazy as well. You're seeing it on the because 5 or 6 years ago, people would argue when I was very left leaning. People would argue that like the schools are crazy, the kids won't ask any questions. Like that's bullshit or whatever. But now I think we're probably actually at that point where it does seem to be the case that a lot of this stuff isn't subject to debate anymore. People won't answer questions. But bringing the conversation temperature down a lot is a really big one. Trying to acknowledge like descriptive similarities, like, okay, we both agree this is a problem. I understand what you're saying there is important.
And you did that. I don't know if you were conscious of it or not, but you did that when you just consciously, your tone kind of, you spoke in an easier tone too. And so it's called in literature, it's called pro-social modeling. You're kind of modeling the behavior positively for them. Yeah. You can do other things, before it gets to that point. I don't know if you want to go into this. What do you want? Tell me. Two things. I'm going to break the conversation and throw out a curveball. Why do you think so many people? I don't know if this happened in your. Did a lot of people tell you that you should talk to me?
Yeah.
Why do you? What do you think those people were looking for? What do you think they wanted us to talk about?
I think the perception is that you and me are occupying similar spaces right now that is exceedingly rare in discourse, where you're trying to bring people from two epistemically different worlds and then using conversational and philosophical tools and psychological tools to kind of get them together to at least be able to talk to each other. Because right now it feels like there is this incommensurability between left and right where you don't exist in the same world. So just having a person that can bring this, and it seems like you're willing to do that based on the videos that we've watched, and hopefully people have the perception that I do that. So
okay. So I'll say, I'm completely new to this YouTube thing. I'm completely new. Like I was in the academic space and, the publishing and the peer review and then the
grievance studies and everything. Yeah, we've read all.
Yeah, the grievance studies. That's the one thing I didn't. I've talked about that so much, like I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, somebody in my YouTube chat actually brought that up because some people are like, ask him, because everybody's always like, ask for that. And then somebody was like, he's talked about this so much on his show. I bet he never wants to talk about it again.
I have talked about this for 3 years, like constantly talked about it. But yeah, I'm trying to. I really struggle sometimes with the best way to do this, and I'm starting to think right now that YouTube is the way to do this. You can reach people. And the other thing I think I've Twitter.
Wait, before you go on, when you say do this, what are you referring to specifically? Like your political project or? What is
No,
this?
not a, it's actually an apolitical project that free speech and open inquiry are not. They're not they're not on the right. They're not on the left. I mean, I guess you could call them American values. Not even. They're just broadly Enlightenment values or Western liberalism. I guess you could say that, although that's kind of a problem, a tainted term. To just help people start talking to each other again, to help people start communicating across divides. You know, I can't even possibly tell you the number of emails I get. Oh, you know, what should I do? I have a friend, they believe this, I believe this. You know, I think it was Peterson who told me YouTube is like the new Gutenberg press. There are just so many, you know. But I don't know how to harness that yet. I'm learning that now, and I guess Twitter is just such a fucking sewer.
Oh shit! Giga Chad.
One of my writing partners, my primary writing partner, said it's like a sewer that follows you.
I'm just kidding, dude. It's okay, but
I'll try.
Happen.
Of course. The battle's starting. Don't worry.
Let's go.
I like to shoot stuff. Come on.
Fucking idiot.
As the wind blows.
Come hit him.
First blood.
Let's go.
Yeah. Oh.
On it.
Oh, he went down.
Ooh, sorry.
I got
Ooh, that's awkward. I'm gonna have to report you now.
That's okay. I deserve it. I don't deserve any commends or anything other than a report.
Report. Are you a fucking pirate?
The old report.
way ahead.
An Irish pirate.
An Irish pirate.
As the arrow flies.
Honestly, I suck.
My quiver.
Oh, I wasn't even trying to do that. I'm
Come on.
just gonna stop.
Report.
Report
Of
him.
course. Yes. Pretty sure it's this way. I just onward. I'm a natural. I go. Never really understood my connection to this thing. My purpose set. Hand out one for all of you. Already moving. On my way. Leaves in my wake. It's all in the boat.
You liar. You fucking liar. I knew it. I knew you were trolling from the start.
That arrow this morning. Good night.
What can I say?
Fucking liar.
You mean?
Night.
You fucking liar.
Shagger.
Let's do this.
The fucking shackle
Report.
shitter.
Report.
Rapper.
I've got my wind out.
Oh
Look
shit.
at that. He can see me in here. And now he can't.
No longer.
Way ahead.
And now he can... Okay.
That distance, no problem.
Oh, a century for a century. I bet that was worth it, Lion.
Hey, big idiot.
On it. How about blind?
I'm so bad, honestly. I need your shackles.
Let me float this by.
I can't hit him, dude.
You could
I've told you this.
have handed it to me.
Shit. You're right. Forgot.
Snacks
Under
from the
attack. As the wind blows. Yes. Not enough mana. Shoot enough there.
Not like this!
Learn to
Juked him!
fly. On it.
Imagine being a fucking loser juggernaut like him. Couldn't be me.
Already
Couldn't be you.
Nah, here you want some.
Maybe you're
Pretty
mom.
sure it's
Oh shit! Oh shit!
Oh, oh,
Make room
oh! What a noob! What a noob!
as the arrow flies.
Oh, I thought he was gonna try to waste time.
Let's go!
All right,
Seeing star.
all right, I'm out of here. I'm gonna go back
Later, bro.
and then come back, and then things are gonna be great when we come back. Okay,
Later, bro.
we're gonna open assholes,
Like the wind.
close them,
Oh,
do everything.
Killing spree. Double kill.
Good job, everybody over there.
this elbow
That's getting
loose.
double kills and shit.
I go
Well played.
onward.
Not an expert at Dota, but I think that means we're doing good. So, it's good stuff.
My
good stuff.
purpose set. Check
You
this
need
one.
anything, bro? Here, I'll bring you a clarity, dude.
Reap the whirlwind. Wild winds rising. Thank you.
Gracias. Oh
Give you
shit!
some mana, dude. The fuck?
I go.
What's going on over here? Are we? Are they
I don't know what they're doing. We're missing top. Let's say that.
Lion was mid.
Oh,
Second
okay.
mid, but I don't know where he is now.
Okay, sorry about that. Wasn't me.
here?
That's fine. I saw him.
Leaves in my wake.
Yeah, to be fair, I wasn't in the lane.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really either. I was by the tower. You know, it's fine. Yeah, you know.
Plausible deniability.
Oh, that's right. Fountain missing. They're missing at the fountain.
Another
And that's where I was. That's my input.
on it. I don't need to brag.
Oh,
Let
these
others
poor.
sing my praises. Taste my arrow.
His brain is so big.
Maelstrom. Make room.
Give him a little tip.
I go.
I'm sure he appreciates it.
Of course. As the wind blows.
Dominating.
On my way.
Well played.
How about blindfold? I could do this on nothing like a little deconstruction.
Dire Snow fortified their structures.
You know the mic's not just for like
Your middle
jokes and
tower
shit,
is
right?
under
You gotta
attack.
let me know if you need help, man.
What are you saying?
Yeah, what are you saying?
No, I don't
Let me know
understand.
if you guys need me in the lane. That's all I'm saying.
I don't understand.
My back.
The enemy's top
I think I'm
tower
starting to
has
understand
fallen.
now, man. I'm sorry. I came mid because I saw it vacant. You know, I'm hungry.
Killing spree.
Just attack him.
I gust onward.
Hey, Drow, you want to do something weird and
Vent.
try to go in their jungle over here and
Sure,
try to
this
get
way.
it? Let's
It
see.
looks like Dire fortified their structures.
Motherfucking tower's hitting me, dude.
My purpose set.
Oh, dude.
Storm bottle.
Let's do this. Check this one.
Killing spree.
I am the time for this.
Mega kill.
Oops, I did not mean to do that.
Unstoppable. Double kill.
Esta que, hermanos.
I mean, all jokes aside, we're destroying their anuses, quite
on.
frankly.
That distance, no problem. You catch
Do we want to see people over here? I think so.
Bye-bye.
Your
See if we can
bottom
find some
tower
people.
is under attack.
Already moving. Double damage. I'm way ahead. Peace out. Come on. Shackled. Shit, I'm under attack.
Oh!
Of
Okay.
course.
Get your ass over here where we can see that motherfucker, huh?
Already moving. Leaves in my wake. On it. Want to see something new?
Oh no! Oh Mario!
Oh, they're all collapsing on you guys. Get out.
Oh, get me!
Leave people behind. Get out.
But I love them. My friends.
It's okay, man. I'll allow it.
Go, man.
I'll negate the report from
20
earlier.
Seconds. Rap.
Hard.
Rap hard.
Oh, did we already got the tower? Dude, what the fuck do we do? It's so boring. We're just all destroying everything.
Yeah, sorry, bud.
Is that the point of the game?
I mean, I guess we just keep going.
My purpose set.
Oh shit, I need that.
Get my point.
I'll just talk about it, be about it.
Flies.
I've been one.
Winds embrace. I protect this one.
I'm silence in here.
Allies disappear. Thick burn. Sailing along. Gotcha.
I don't know where. What? Is there a sentry there?
Monster kill. Double kill.
Oh no!
Let's do this. That distance, no problem.
What the fuck was that TV? That lion, dude.
Ooh,
Try this on
I think he was freaking out.
now.
You put down the wars, sentries and
They
go and fight.
The enemy's middle tower has fallen.
with my
I
eyes.
knew you could do it.
Pretty sure it's this way.
Plan over here. Go top. Let's go top. We got creeps.
Almost there. You know, over here. A lot nicer without these things here. I go. Let's do this.
Who wants my na 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 na?
Leaves in my way.
Well, I did, but I wasn't there, so reported.
How about blood?
Oh.
He's got greaves on.
All right. Next time I will only give it to you.
Come on.
Even I will have full mana and I'll use it all for you.
I go.
I promise.
Fucking losers. Imagine getting hit by that.
I gust onward. Make room.
Didn't someone buy a lot of wards?
Dire have fortified their structures.
Use all the wards or?
You really should look at your bottom tower.
I'm way ahead.
Your bottom tower is under attack.
As the arrow flies. Later.
Killing spree.
That distance, no problem.
Double kill.
I was born for this.
We can re-engage.
As the wind blows.
Dude, he spun and
Spin to win.
You should be honored. Stupendous!
I'll push their top in.
Your middle tower is under attack.
Of course. One for
do you want that? Wind Ranger.
Which one?
I forgot what it's called. Hang on, that bow.
Come on.
Grove bow.
No, I want tunic.
Make room. Wow. Okay, who's ready to have some fun? I'm a natural.
I think we should get go. Top these up, TBN. Congrats.
It's all good. It's all good. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
I can walk.
On my way.
Easy. All me.
Right here.
All me.
Oh, I'm bad.
Can't
I'm
outthink me.
First place in noobness.
Blindfolded.
Forgot creep camps
Take an arrow.
worth their things around here.
I'm just gonna kill this top tower.
Want to see something neat?
Killing
Yeah, I'll kill it with you from over here.
Work as usual.
You're starting to get picked off. That's not good. Turning the.
A space created Earthshaker TB bot, so might as well get this tower.
Bottom tower is gone.
See if I get
forever.
someone.
We could probably Roche too.
Turn to share.
I think you should give the Roche the
This
Aegis
way.
to go. Then let's wait for.
No, we can start now, and she can TP to the mid tier 1.
Alright, let's go.
She can TP there. Oh, that's a little dangerous, huh?
Bro, let's go, man, quick.
Hey, incoming.
You know what? I'll take these.
Either you or Drow. We need a dust at the last second, though.
I got it done.
Perfect.
I just arrowed him over there. Yeah.
My way. Turn to share. As the arrow flies.
Anybody coming over here?
I'm way ahead.
Hold on, I'm kind of low on mana. Who had mana boots? Mana, please. Thanks.
Greaves are, yeah, Greaves are close.
Come on. As the wind blows.
Take the bot tier 1.
What?
How about blindfold?
Wait.
Attack.
My bad. I stopped playing wards and I forgot about it.
Let's do this.
Get out if you can.
I'm out, I'm out. Yeah, we're good.
I go.
Nice.
I ain't no bitch.
Of course. Check this one. My purpose.
Is that the global
I'm
nightfall?
gonna ward as we go up, but they were kind of there.
I'm not going to see something new. Oh,
Killing spree.
I run like the wind.
Oh shit, boys.
Dominated.
Boys.
Double kill.
Help over here, Storm.
Dominated.
Nice. Free, we could be.
Mega kill.
What?
Double kill.
You gotta help us with the core because I can't kill those motherfuckers.
Over here now.
Zip again.
Touche.
You're good. Hell yeah.
Seriously trying to like chase me.
Nah, you're good, man.
He wants to bait him in.
Bro, you could probably like use that chrysalis to make a silver edge to save yourself. Or initiate, or I don't know, break anyone. Alright, I'm gonna go bait.
Yeah, I would go.
Your bottom tower is under attack. Shadows take us.
Takes a lot to knock me off my feet.
Poor drones like carrying sentries and shit.
Don't let your middle tower fall.
Oh no! I was only BKB boy there.
My elbow strength grows.
I should have seen. I yelled. I in my head. I should have yelled it. I was like, he's coming and nobody's gonna know. But it, you know,
That distance.
there wasn't enough time for me to realize that I needed to scream. Yep.
Feel the wind in your hair. Make room.
Mess around in their triangle here.
I'll give you a head start. Wind at my
I'm just gonna let him have that T1.
Tower is under attack.
Let's do this.
Radiant structures are fortified.
One for all of you.
The middle tower is under attack. The middle tower has fallen.
Where's up this motherfucker?
My purpose set. Learn to
Don't
share.
let your middle tower fall.
I'm way ahead. Want to see something new?
Oh fuck!
Wicked sick.
Okay. I thought I had pretty good vision, and all of a sudden they were all in.
Already moving. Peace out.
Fuck. Yeah, we got a good dip. Just defend high ground.
Leaves in my wake.
Drow's really weak compared to their cores. We need to just defend high ground, to be honest.
Part of the range of
Let them
hit.
take the towers.
Of course.
Yeah, I agree. Holy shit, you have a Daedalus? Alright, guys, we got this.
I go.
There's really no
For
reason
sure got
to
this.
stand for this.
Pretty expensive dust. What else you
Middle
got?
tower is down. You just let them.
Pretty sure it's this way.
Holy shit!
Your middle tower is under attack. Your middle tower is gone. I tried to warn you. Your middle barracks have fallen. You know what this means.
They got a
Your middle barracks have fallen.
Yeah, you're right.
They just smoked out. Careful.
Care.
They are doing some sketchy ass shit up in there, dude. Let me tell.
Your top tower is under attack. Your top tower is fallen. Bye-bye, tower. You really should look at your bottom tower.
Drow's dead.
Monster kill.
Arrows? Check. Payback? You've got it.
Let's
Killing spree.
I'm way ahead.
Your
My
top
feet
tower
fly.
is under attack.
Wow, dude. Fuck. You hurt so bad.
That distance? No problem. I press onward.
Let's talk about your top tower. Radiant
Leaves in
have
my
fortified their structures. Your top tower is
I
under
go.
attack.
Let's do this. Check this one. My purpose set.
Alright.
Let's talk
Defend high
about
ground.
your top
15 seconds. Here we go.
Oh,
We're good.
winds embrace.
Your top tower is under attack.
Blindfold. Already moving. Of course. Pretty sure it's this way.
That Roshan's down.
You should have run.
I touched an Aegis once.
Just defend high ground. Defend high ground. We're strong high ground.
Come on.
If we keep defending high ground, we can win the game easily.
As the
We don't
arrow
need to
flies.
die at a base.
One for I.
Let's talk about your top tower.
On it.
Your top tower is under attack. There's no more top tower.
Pretty
I
sure
thought
it's
this might
way.
happen.
Here it goes. That distance, no problem. On my way. Bye-bye. I go. Make room.
Holy shit!
Dominating.
That jug is just too OP right now.
I got fingered. And it killed me with like 75%.
The middle tower has fallen.
Squishy little bitch.
Your
That's
ancient
what I
is
am.
under attack. Defend your ancient. It's kind of the name of the game. Dire victory.
I fail in my.
All right, time to stream some